This year we may celebrate Yom Ha'atzmaut in a different way because of COVID, but also because of COVID, we're able to see firsthand the amazing vibrancy of an independent Israel with its world-beating vaccination program. Our two countries are leading the world in its vaccination program, and I've never been prouder of the alliance between our two great countries, and it is an absolute joy to celebrate Israel Independence Day.
The United Synagogue is delighted once again to be involved in tonight's Yom HaZikaron and Yom Ha'atzmaut commemorations, and we can't wait to welcome Bnei Akiva back as they were before, back in our shores. As a community, we've had so much nachat from Israel. Israel's been leading the way in combating COVID, both in its rollout of its vaccination program, but also developing medications to combat this awful disease. So often we hear in the media of experts talking about the way in which Israel has led the world in dealing with the epidemic. I know how difficult it's been for everybody in our community who's not been able to visit Israel over the last 18 months. I'm personally looking forward to the restrictions being lifted so that I can visit, and I'm sure that Bnei Akiva will help lead the charge in getting our young people back to Israel as soon as possible, and us all benefiting from the connections that we have and the educational value that it leads in continuing this wonderful spirit that Israel permeates around the community. Wishing you all a very happy Yom Ha'atzmaut. Kadima Bnei Akiva. Thank you very much.
I'd like to congratulate Bnei Akiva on everything you've done this year to keep our children and our young people engaged and connected to Israel in such difficult times. I've been so impressed by the creativity of your programmes and the positivity you've shown to make things happen. You've really set an example of Jewish educational leadership, which we at LSJS support and encourage and promote. So thank you and Chag Sameach.
I'm delighted to send this message for Yom Ha'atzmaut in celebration of Israel's 73rd birthday. I'm particularly proud again to celebrate, together with Bnei Akiva, the movement in which I grew up, which gave me my values and my personal ethos, of which I have only the greatest memories. These last few months have made me even prouder of Israel and its achievements, seeing it lead the world in medical advancement and provision, watching it become the role model for every other country. What a Kiddush Hashem. Wishing us all a Chag Atzmaut Sameach.
I'm Rachel Fink, head teacher of JFS and proud Bogeret of Bnei Akiva, Shevet Achva Hachshara 1987 to 88. On behalf of the whole JFS community, we wish the Chaverim of Bnei Akiva and the wider Jewish community a Chag Atzmaut Sameach. On this Yom Ha'atzmaut, my fervent wish that it won't be too long till we can all physically reconnect with Eretz Yisrael and Medinat Yisrael, and it won't be too long before all our young people can enjoy the wonderful experiences that a visit to Israel can give them. Wishing everybody much tikva, much hope for an exciting and new future ahead of us. Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach. We at Mizrahi UK are delighted to send warm greetings to our friends and partners at Bnei Akiva and to the broader community on this very special occasion of Yom Ha'atzmaut. Our beloved Medinat Israel is a land where Einei Hashem Elokecha ba me'reshit hashana ve'ad acharit hashana, where Hashem always keeps his eyes from the beginning to the end of the year. And this year again, despite the terrible toll of the pandemic, we saw Israel being an Or LaGoyim by showing the world the way out of the crisis. May we all merit to celebrate next year's Yom Ha'atzmaut together with Bnei Akiva and Mizrahi in Yerushalayim. Chag Sameach lekulam.
On behalf of the trustees and the executive of British EMUNAH, as director of British EMUNAH, I bring you Yom Ha'atzmaut greetings to you from our organisation, which has always had a strong relationship with Bnei Akiva, Fachad and Mizrahi. We are living in a time of great difficulty, and now more than ever, our EMUNAH is being tested. Rabbi Sachs has described faith, EMUNAH, as having the courage to live with uncertainty, knowing the future unpredictable. It is not the absence of doubt, but the ability to recognize doubt and still take the risk of commitment. 73 years ago, Ben-Gurion courageously declared the State of Israel amidst much uncertainty, but he and so many more like him had emunah that it would survive and flourish. And how right he was. Almost 90 years ago, the EMUNAH organization was born, helping Holocaust refugees and survivors arriving in Palestine. Over the years, it has set up a large network of social welfare projects helping so many waves of immigrants from Arab countries, Russia and Ethiopia, as well as helping thousands of Israeli children and their families in difficult circumstances. Despite the fact that we cannot be together in our usual Kinloss venue, there is still much to celebrate this Yom Ha'atzmaut, with hope and emunah for the future, as Israel is close to all of our hearts. We send you all our best wishes for Yom Ha'atzmaut Sameach.